Good morning. I am Lama Jigme, and this is Enlightened Fitness, where first we'll use high-intensity body weight interval training to cultivate the body of a tantric sex god, and then we'll use guided meditation to help cultivate both the heart and the mind of a Buddha. The diet that I recommend is a low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet. So what I would like to do right quickly is read a passage from Healthy Eating, Healthy World by J. Morris Hicks. This book and other books on the low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet can be found on my website. By the way, while we're talking about my website, below this video, you'll notice a little button that reads Show More. When you click that, it will reveal a list of links as long as my arm. Those links will take you to different internet resources designed to answer all your questions about diet, about warming up, about exercise, about how to sit, how to count your fingers, how to meditate, all that good stuff. So do the smart thing and really make the most of those links. So let's start by just reading a small passage about the environmental impact of eating either a omnivorous diet or a low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet. We're going to talk about a little bit about land degradation and deforestation. Land is critical in any conversation about the environment. After all, whether we are eating sirloin or spinach, we need land to produce our food. The problem is that we need a lot more of it to produce the sirloin. Whether we are burning precious rainforests in Brazil to make room for grazing cattle, or destroying our topsoil to create feed for beef, we're devastating land at record speed. And this is clearly a serious problem. The following are some major points of the UN report. In all, raising livestock amounts for 78% of all agricultural land and 30% of the surface of the planet. Expansion of livestock production is a key factor in deforestation, especially in Latin America, where the greatest amount of deforestation is occurring. 70% of previously forested land in the Amazon is occupied by pastures, and feed crops cover a large part of the remainder. About 20% of the world's pastures and rangelands, with 73% of rangelands in dry areas, have been degraded to some extent, mostly through overgrazing, compaction, and erosion created by livestock. So just stick this in your pipe and smoke it. And what that phrase really means is this is just another and a vast slew of reasons to at least consider the low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet. It doesn't have to be boring, it doesn't have to be bland, it can be quite delicious. It's good for your body, it's good for your emotions, it's good for your longevity. The animals seem to like not being tortured and slaughtered, and the planet will thank you as well. Having said that, let's get on with this morning's workout. Now before you do, I want to draw your attention to the first link below the video. The first link will take you to the page of my website where all the Enlightened Fitness videos can be found. First, they're organized into boxes by length of video. Some videos are 10 minutes. Some workouts are 10 minutes. Some workouts are 8 minutes. Some workouts are 5 minutes. Some workouts are 2 minutes. You get the idea. So in each box, we have workouts of the same length. Within each box, the workouts are organized by length of guided meditation. I don't care if you've been meditating for 2 decades. Have some humility. This is a method using techniques you're probably very unfamiliar with. So start with a 3-minute guided meditation. When you're comfortable with that, move on to a 6-minute guided meditation. When you're comfortable with that, move on to 9 minutes, and so forth, and so forth. So in essence, do yourself a favor, set yourself up for success. Now, let's work out. Let's warm up using 2 repetitions of Indian-inspired 12-phase sun salutation. Woof. Okay, now that we're warmed up, let's do a workout. Let's do 5 circuits of 5 exercises. We'll begin with our first set of single leg tabletops. Whoops, gotta move the space here. Woof. Okay. First set of toe squats. First set of chair presses. So these are tent presses actually on a chair. That's why the legs are not straight. Okay. First set of thrusts. Similar to the thrust you use in squat thrusts. You were probably taught that in high school. first set of chins. Oh. Second table. Second squat. Second tent press. Bruce Lee was rather fond of these and said they were integral to the performance of a one-inch punch. I'd rather hug than punch. Second thrust. Second chin. Third table. Third squat. Third press. Third thrust. Third chin. Fourth squat. Whoops, fourth table. Fourth squat. Fourth press. Fourth thrust. Fourth chin. Fifth and final circuit, tables. Fifth squat. Fifth press. Fifth thrust. Fifth chin. Going to move the yoga blanket closer to the camera. I'm going to take a moment to move the space heater. Remember, there's a link that can lead you to a sitting tutorial and a link that can lead you to a crease or finger counting tutorial as well. Water, beverage of choice. Drink only water, eat only plants. What could be simpler than that? I promise you, I'm not sickly because of the diet. I've tried every diet. I'm sickly because I have lifelong health challenges. So please don't judge the diet on the merits of my coffee. The best bet would be for you, get Dr. Bernard's book, read it, take your weight, take your measurements, follow the diet for 90 days, then take your weight and take your measurements again, and notice the difference. That's your best test of the diet. The day we had the 3-minute meditation, I taught you a concise version of the Satipatthana meditation. The day I taught you the 6-minute meditation, I taught you a concise version of the Metta meditation. The third part of this triangle, this trinity, will be today's 3-minute technique, which we add to the others to get a total minute count of 9. It's going to be Anapanasati. So Anapanasati means mindfulness of breathing. Now, more than one of my Theravadan teachers have insisted that the Anapanasati Sutta, the Satipatthana Sutta, and the Mahasatipatthana Sutta are the same discourse in concise, middling, and extensive format. So today's breathing meditation is only going to be 3 minutes long. Now, because we're going to start off with rhetorical, assumptive questions, it'll be relatively easy. But before we start, let's avoid some needless frustration. Your job is not to follow the breath in and out of your body. That's Taoist. Your job is not to just focus on one point of your body as the breath passes by, that can create too much physical and psychic tension, which could result in you becoming a bit of a cranky bastard. And forgive me if I'm idealistic, but I would suspect you're choosing to play with meditation because you want to become less of a cranky bastard, not more. As with all my contemplative notation, this is basically a reading meditation or a reciting meditation. On the in-breath, you're going to recite a question silently and mentally. On the out-breath, you're going to recite an intention, once again, silently and mentally. If you must focus on one thing, focus on those words and their intentions. Now, even though the lion's share of your focus is going to be on those words, are you going to be at least spontaneously aware of your breathing? Well, of course you will. Now, so there's a myth in Taoism called ping. And in ping, they say, have no thoughts. But that's not Buddhism. In Buddhism, we should expect an awareness of our circumstances, of our body's sensations, of our emotions, of our thoughts, of our memories, of our fantasies, of our hopes, of our fears, to come cartwheeling through our mind and body. That's natural. That's not forbidden. In some schools of Hindu meditation, they teach you're supposed to have perfect machine-like, laser-like concentration that drowns out all other sensory input. But that's not what Buddha taught. True, Buddha did practice that before he became Buddha, when he was studying under other meditation teachers. But once he left their schools and ventured out on his own, after he forsook asceticism, he no longer meditated in that manner. So let's be realistic. While we're reciting words on the in-breath, silently and mentally, while we're reciting words on the out-breath, silently and mentally, while we're passively aware of our breath, spontaneously things will cartwheel across our mind. We do not wish to ignore them. That generates tension. We do not wish to indulge them. That undermines all our work. We're just aware of them. They're in the background. Kind of like the first time you made out, there was probably music in the background. But once you probably started kissing your date, that music was no longer at the forefront of your mind. It left the foreground of your mind into the background of your mind. So, during the 3-minute technique of awareness and letting go, we'll deal with whatever came up. Stuff will come up when we do breathing meditation. Stuff will come up when we do metta meditation. And we're just going to, sweep it into a pile. And then when we do awareness and letting go meditation, it's as if we're sweeping it into a dustbin. Finally, we have something useful to do with those random sensations and emotions and thoughts and memories and fantasies. So, random stuff is not an indictment. It's normal and natural. Be aware of it without getting carried away by it. If that sounds like a bit of a juggle, it is. And the journey on the path isn't about never, ever, ever being distracted ever again by background stuff. No. It's about doing a meditation. Background stuff comes up. Occasionally, it'll distract you. Once you've realized you've been distracted, on the out breath, remember every out breath during the breathing meditation will end in either the phrase releasing or free. So every out breath is an opportunity for you to let go of whatever phenomena was distracting you in the moment. The real test is not whether or not we're going to be distracted, because we are. The question is, how quickly do we become aware of our distraction, and how quickly do we release or let go of our distraction on the out-breath, or at least turn our intention towards that. The moment we move, now remember, we don't want to get caught in loving our distraction, because then we lose the meditation. We don't want to get caught up in hating our distraction, because that's just more tension. So the letting go process, the releasing process is gentle and it's natural as every out breath. That's why we want to breathe deeply or generously. Because the more generously we breathe in, the more profoundly we can release on the out breath. So here's today, super, super simple yet profoundly effective breathing meditation. Left hand in lap, palm up. Right hand in left, palm up. Thumbs do not touch. On the in breath, we're going to ask, how long breath? On the out breath, we're going to intend releasing. How long breath? Releasing. Again, approximately 9 breaths worth of how long breath? Releasing. This is not supposed to be torturous. This is supposed to be blissful. Invite the bliss. Set a space for it at the table. Now we switch to the one-syllable paradigm. Breath free. Now I'm breathing faster than you because I'm doing all this talking. Now you might say, hey, I'm not perfectly calm. No, you're not. You're most likely more calm than you were 3 minutes ago. Every 3 minutes you get calmer and calmer. Every 12 minutes you get calmer and calmer. Every 30 minutes you get calmer and calmer. So calming the mind is no great feat. You do it every night when you fall asleep. And so in Buddhism, the emphasis of a good Dharma teacher is not one on calming the mind, for that is automatic, but on making one's meditation as productive and, wait for it, transformative as possible. Any dolt can calm their mind, but it takes a great meditator to transform the habit energies of both their heart and their mind. Now we're going to review what we learned one day ago. It's time for 3 minutes metta, loving kindness, meditation. Let's focus on joy. How joy good? Releasing. Remember, every out-breath is your chance to let go of whatever gurk is tumbling through your heart and mind. How joy feel? Releasing. Now to me, give great joy. Now to some, give great joy. Now to all, give great joy. Now to each give great joy. Let's reduce it to the one-syllable paradigm. Each joy. All instruction aside, approximately only 6 minutes of practice have elapsed. Notice how much calmer you already are. We'll conclude with our final 3-minute practice, the union of awareness and letting go. What's seeing, releasing. What feeling, releasing. How could this be funny? Grin with lips, releasing. Grin with cheeks, releasing. Grin with eyes, releasing. Noticing, relaxing. This ease. with this basic tripod of breath, compassion, of love, and awareness, you can progress remarkably far on the path, as long as your practice is consistent and gentle. It's better to go from 3 minutes to 6 minutes, and 6 minutes to 9 minutes, bit by bit, than it is to go from 3 minutes to 30 minutes to 300 minutes. If you go too fast, if you push yourself too hard, you can cultivate an aversion to meditation, which would not serve you. Go gentle. It's better to end your meditation session desiring more than turning it into some sort of a death march. One moment. Before we conclude with our gentle set of geriatric yoga, I'm going to give you a quick quote from the Dhammapada. The 15th chapter is all about joy. Live in joy, in love, even among those who hate. Live in joy, in health, even among the afflicted. Live in joy, in peace, even among the troubled. Live in joy without possessions, like the shining ones. The winner sows hatred because the loser suffers. Let go of winning and losing and find joy. There is no fire like passion, no crime like hatred, no sorrow like separation, no sickness like hunger, and no joy like the joy of freedom. Health, contentment, and trust are your greatest possessions, and freedom your greatest joy. Look within, be still. Free from fear and attachment, know the sweet joy of the way. How joyful to look upon the awakened, and to keep company with the wise. How long the road to the man who travels with a fool, but whoever follows those who follow the way discovers his family and is filled with joy. Follow then the shining ones, the wise, the awakened, the loving, for they know how to work and forbear. Follow them as the moon follows the path of the stars. Kind of beautiful, huh? Please join me for the gentle set of geriatric yoga known as untying the heart's knots. Please sit erect and lace your hands behind your tush. Please open your chest and twist to the left. Why give wise? Releasing. Please reverse. Now to each, give wisdom. Back to the center. Please release your hands, bring them to your lap, swing them out and overhead, bend to the left. Why give peace? Releasing. Bend to the right. Now to each, give great peace. Back to the center. your way into downward facing fetal position. This is also known as child's pose. Give to each, love for all. Curl your fingers into fists. Place your knuckles upon the yoga blanket just above your knees. Stridently straighten your arms. Ride the momentum into the seated samurai position, which is also known as lion's pose. Please lace your hands behind your tush, open your chest, drop your head, roll your gaze up. What's seeing, really seeing. What hearing, really seeing. What feeling, really seeing. Please release your hands. Please cup your palms. Gently press your hands together so that the center of each palm is suspended before the upper third of your chest. Please relax your shoulders down and press with your hands into a left twist. Why give joy? Releasing. Please reverse. Shoulders down. Press with your palms into a right twist. Now to each, give great joy. Back to center. Relax the shoulders down. Come into a hands and knees posture in preparation for cat-cow asana. Open mouth, slack jaw. Now to each, give comfort. Please stand up. Place all your weights upon the major, minor ball of each foot, right behind the big and little toe. Heels off the blanket. Subtle bend in the knees. Pitch or thrust the hips forward. Lace the hands behind the tush. Open the chest. Drop the head. Roll the gaze up. How could this be funny? Grin with lips. Releasing. Noticing, relaxing. Please join me in 2 repetitions of Indian-inspired 12-face sun salutation. We're now going to recite 3 final recitations. So you can pause this if you want and turn your attention to the links. Find the link that'll take you to the class materials page of my website. Download the latest free version of the PDF entitled First Set of Lesson Texts. Each lesson concludes with these 3 recitations. If you have not memorized them, you can recite them after the practice, and eventually, as days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months, you will spontaneously memorize them. By this virtue may I now accomplish the spontaneous, habitual, easy, and effective mastery of Buddha's mental yogas, of devotion, awareness, of wisdom, peace, love, and joy, and now lead every living being, without exception, to this ground, May everyone be healthy, wealthy, and happy. May everyone practice skillfully and joyfully. May everyone accomplish generously in this life, and then help many others do likewise. For truly that is the meaning of life. Om Mani Padme Hum. Let's conclude with 2 repetitions of Vietnamese-inspired vows, and of course our 3rd recitation. May I always be cared for throughout all my lives by the Buddha of compassion emanating as my kind teacher. And as such may I always enthusiastically and joyfully tread this excellent path praised by the conquerors. Well, my friends, I thank you for your time, your support, and your kind attention, as well as your enthusiasm to apply these instructions. May you and yours be healthy and happy. Om Mani Padme Hum. Now, before you go, I want to remind you to click the subscribe button, as well as the like button and the share button. Remember those links I told you about below the video? You could use one of those links to help keep this monk fed, which would be quite lovely, but it's not mandatory. If you can't afford to give anything, that's okay. The most important thing is that you apply these instructions consistently. There's another link that you could use to register for the next series of live weekly webinars. When are they scheduled to begin? Monday, the 6th of May. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.